is Michael Bosey. Welcome to my podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I want to hit a big topic, or at least an overview of a big topic, which is creating a pathway for your users, taking them from handshake all the way through to at least some of them making a purchase, right? This is obviously one of the most critical things that you can do. And my experience in working with clients, doing workshops, this is a mystery to folks. And a lot of people think that you can just build your website, get out there, post on social, and by some form of magic, people are going to purchase. And that's just not true. It's just not the way that it works. This is why I'm doing this series that I'm calling Content Marketing 201, because these 101 strategies don't work as effectively anymore. You still have to do them. Yes, you still need your website. You still need to blog or do a podcast like this one. You still need to do social media. You need an email strategy. You need an SEO strategy. All this stuff is critical, but it's just the beginning. It's time for you and I to up our game and go beyond the 101 into the 201 strategy. So let's look at that. Let's look at what a pathway looks like. First thing you want to do in building your pathway is to start with your outcome and work backwards. Right? So let's assume that your outcome is for a writer. It might be to sell your book, or for a musician to sell your record, or for any business selling your product or a service, getting a sign up for, a new client. What's the outcome? That could be an actual download of a product, ship a product to me, or, setting up something that is an appointment or a service that you're going to provide for someone. So if we start there with the outcome, the next thing is to look at, when you're building your foundation, what do you need to get that action to happen? In effect, it's two things, right? You need a site and a way for people to pay you in this foundation, right? That's not the whole pathway, obviously. You need a site set up that's going to carry some of this weight, a foundation on the web, and of course you need some mechanism for people to pay you. And I'm not going to get into all the details of the way that you can do that. There are literally dozens of ways that you can make that happen. And it varies sector to sector. Okay, so that's your foundation. But the next step is to draw people in. Now we get to the hard part, right? This is the difficult part. This is why we blog. This is why we have an email list. This is why we do social media. But can we get all of those things working together to form this pathway, to construct this so that it's not an accident when someone purchases? It's not based on hope or leaving it to chance. They're actually guided to do so. And of course, if you're a longtime listener of this podcast, you know that that guidance is going to be very respectful, ethical, and done with a very, very light touch. We don't want to be pushy and aggressive, constantly asking people to buy our stuff. Nobody likes that. And consumers are savvy now. They know how to avoid that. They know how to see right through a sales pitch and say, I see what you're going for here, and I resist it. All right, but this pathway always starts at the top with awareness. And I talked about this in the last episode, that we want to think of that not as traffic, but as real human visitors to your site who are starting their journey of getting to know you and trust you. It's going to come from three places: SEO or search, email, or social. And your blog is going to be a really key part of this whole equation, because likely someone is going to enter for the first time to a blog post. Not to your homepage, not to your about page, probably not to a landing page, but to a blog, right? Something that you have published that is of interest, that either people searched for, that's SEO, or it's been shared via social. Give them a clear next step. So that could be simply, hey, read the next post. if you want to learn more about this topic that I'm talking about, that I have some expertise in, that I have some experience in, that I can teach you about. This is why in this podcast, in my blog, I try to write in series. Because, well, look, if and when I get it right, it builds anticipation. So if I've provided value to you in this episode, you might wish to subscribe because you don't want to miss the next one. If I've provided that value, if I've made my case. But make that easy for folks. Tell them, go to my site and subscribe. I'll do that right now. controlmousemedia.com/subscribe. Tell them what to expect as well. So for me, hey, you get to choose what you receive, in other words, blog or podcast, and how frequently, right? Do you want every post? Do you want to get a monthly digest or hear from me a few times a year? I feel like that's fair. It's not up to me. It's your inbox. You should get to choose. And I found this to be a good and, again, like everything I try to do, a more ethical, more respectful marketing strategy. But let's go back to that building trust process with your blog, right? You're going to continue that over and over again. And it takes a while. So, don't come back to me and say, oh, hey, Michael, I published 12 posts and nothing happened, right? Because, look, here's your strategy instead. Publish 5 posts and then observe the results as objectively as you can. Make a change, set a new metric, and then publish the next 5 posts and observe those results. Do this 20 more times until you have 100 posts, and I'm serious. Little by little, you have to learn this. You can't put a toe in the water and just see how it goes. You have to commit to this. You have to be consistent. You have to show up. If you're there to serve your audience and this really is going to feed a business outcome, then you have to get committed about this. Again, there's no sugarcoating this. This is a lot of work and a lot of effort, but it's worth it, right? I mean, hey, look, you and I, we're serving people. We're serving our customers. We're serving a constituency. To me, that's worth it. And looking at my own strategy, I mean, look, I've published 150 episodes of this podcast. I still don't have it all figured out. I'm still learning from you what you like, what you don't. The data tells me that. The data gives me clues into that. And I try to do the same thing. Publish a new series, publish an episode, observe the response. Try to do better, ask questions, interact with folks on Twitter. You get the idea here. Now, the final point in that pathway, after you've really done the work in building, this level of trust over a number of posts and a lot of effort, is your online store. And obviously, you got to have all that set up. Like I said, from the very beginning, remember that action that you want to have happen. If that was to sell something on your site, you need a way for people to pay you. And again, I'm not going to get into the technical ways of making that happen. The technology exists to do that. The more important thing is creating that emotional connection between you and your customer so that they're ready to do that. When you've got a product and an audience to sell to, and you've done the work, built up trust, and have set up this system to take them from the very, very beginning, that first handshake all the way down through dozens of posts and interactions and other things until they wind their way down to becoming a customer and a willing customer because they trust you, they like you, you've proven to them that, yes, you can solve this problem for them with a product or service, well, then awesome. The technical aspect of it doesn't matter. You can easily set that part of it up. All right, but to not leave you hanging on that, because, sometimes that is a mystery to folks. Yes, you can Google it. You can go figure all this stuff out. That's fine. But a couple avenues to take the next step because, hey, look, I live this process. All these things that I'm trying to teach you, I do them on my own. You can observe them in me. 2 things. 1, I've got a course on building this pathway to purchase called Building Your Author Platform, Creating a Pathway to Purchase. Obviously, from the title, you can tell that that's for authors only. Yes, others could get something out of it, but really it is specific to writers. I left a link in the show notes for you, but you can find all of my online courses at controlmousemedia.com/courses. Second thing, wish I could take every single person who struggles with this and sit them down one-on-one and help them audit their plan, come up with a simple strategy that works for them. And I say simple, but not easy, because as I've laid out here, it's going to be a ton of work. It always is. Time is a finite resource, but I've set up a simple way so that you can book a session with me. Yes, one-on-one time is more expensive than an online course because that time is scarce. We can still do it. I left a link for you in the show notes, controlmousemedia.com/strategy. When I look around, I see lots of people talking about marketing. And there's some good stuff out there, but the solutions offered are often way too much, too scattered, and too theoretical. And the big need that I see is, how can we help people just do what they need to do in marketing, right? They don't need a marketing degree to get started. They need to connect with people. They need to build this pathway that I'm talking about. That's constructing your site and this entire system as an asset for your business that's going to carry the sales load. Super, super valuable to your business. And if I can help you supercharge that quickly with an hour session, let's do it. controlmousemedia.com/strategy. Otherwise, I aim to continue to help you as much as I can for free with this podcast. And I think in this series of Content Strategy 201, it's time to move on to blogging. Blogging has done great things for me. I train my clients to do it more effectively so it doesn't drive you crazy, and it can be fun. And it's one of the most important pieces of your entire strategy, because it really is the cornerstone of what is going to drive your SEO efforts. So let's get into that in the next episode. And thank you, as always, for listening.